There are 400 billion bits of information floating around in the quantum field at all times, but we're only actually aware of 2,000. 400 billion bits of information, but we're only aware of 2,000. And yet we make decisions based on less than 1% of the information that's out there. We don't know what we don't know. That's what this sign says to me. Limited sight distance. We cannot possibly know what we don't know. So it makes no sense for us to start making choices with so little information, for declaring what reality is based on so little information, okay? I have a friend, this is a good story. I've got to share this with you. I have a friend who's got, like a gaggle of grandkids. I'm so jealous. She's got like 16 grandkids, and I've got just barely 4. And she's always telling me about them. She makes it worse. So I get these letters from her all the time talking about her grandkids did this and her grandson did that sort of thing. So she calls me one day and she says, "Oh, I have got to tell you what Jack did. You're never going to believe it. This is just too funny." She says, "Well, Jack and I were going to go to lunch. And we decided," Jack's 7, we decided we're going to pick up great-grandma Elva before we go to lunch because she needs to get out of the nursing home once in a while. So great-grandma Elva and 7-year-old Jack and my friend Michelle all go to Wendy's because it was Jack's turn to pick where they went. And they had lunch together. And during lunch, great-grandma Elva is telling Jack all of the things that she did when she was a child. All the things, the way the world was when she was little, that sort of thing. And Jack listened really, really attentively. At the end of the lunch, Elva says to him, "Well, Jack, you've been listening, but do you have any questions? Surely you must have a question." And he looked at her and he said, "Yes, I do." And so she said, "Well, what is that, Jack?" And Jack said, "Great-grandma Elva, when you were young, was there color?" And she says, "Well, no, honey, I told you we didn't even have TV sets." She interrupted him. She says, "We don't even have TV sets when I was little. And then when TV sets came out, they were black and white." And he goes, No, that's not what I meant. I mean, when you were growing up, was there, color?" He apparently thought his great-grandmother was born before the invention of color. Now, my friend thought that was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. And I said, it's not that strange when you think about it, right? How many pictures has he seen of his great-grandmother when she was a child? And what are they? Colored? No, they're black and white pictures, right? And they watch movies together from when she was a child, and their favorite is Miracle on 34th Street, and she likes to watch the original version. And guess what? That movie is in black and white. So from Jack's limited perspective, he came to the conclusion that the world must have been black and white back in those days, and color is a fairly recent invention. He didn't know what he didn't know. And we laugh at that. But I sit there and I think, how many decisions, how many conclusions have we jumped to based on limited information that make perfectly good sense to us, but at some point in time when we have that bigger picture, it's going to seem totally silly. It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. So I guess for me, this sign, limited sight distance, is to be really careful about making choices based on limited knowledge. We need the greater perspective. And one of the ways that we get that greater perspective is by turning to God. That's where faith comes in. We trust that Spirit has that larger perspective for our lives. And so we sometimes have to turn that over because we don't get all of it yet. I love that sign.